Hello. It's been a while. Everybody let me know if your audio is good, if the video looks alright. That light looks too bright back there. I'm going to go turn it off. Much better. So, I'm on a little bit early. But yeah, I think that works fine. I'm gonna go ahead and check on YouTube and make sure that it's working. If anybody wants to say something in chat, let me know if it's actually working or not. Otherwise, I will just keep checking. Hello, Raintania. Welcome to my stream. I'm going to be talking about mild and a couple of nightmares and stuff like that. Just nightmare fuel's kind of been what I'm looking for. Does everything sound alright? Let me know. It's working? Is sound sounding good? I'm gonna go ahead and put a headphone in, double check. What up? Good. Okay, perfect. So if anybody has any questions during this, please let me know. Alright, that does actually sound pretty good. Did not subscribe? Well, I'm glad you were subscribed. Hope you're looking to learn something about lucid dreaming today. So, I'm just going to be basically going over a few different types of mild and answering questions, as well as talking about what makes something mild versus what makes it to where it's no longer mild. Lucid dreaming is knowing inside of a dream that you are dreaming. From there, it's pretty easy to take control of your actions, and then with time you can also learn dream control and other things like that. Other light, sunlight, I can't fix that. So basically, I can realize I'm in a dream, I can go talk to dream characters, I can go play a game of chess against a dream character, I can have conversations with these people that don't exist, I can fly, I can shoot fire, all sorts of things like that. Been doing it for about 12 years now, a little bit longer than 12 years, and yeah, just been working hard on it for that long. You can do it many times per night. It takes a lot of effort, but most people that do it consider it to be worthwhile. So, yeah. So lucid dreaming, basically, if you're looking at lucid dreaming, there is one major technique that pretty much everyone agrees is just the top dog. That's going to be mild. Every single test that we've had has shown that the mild mnemonic induction of lucid dreams technique is basically the best. Shinzo diroth. So I'm going to wait until we get to 6 o'clock, because I think a couple people were waiting. They were wanting to join this. I don't want them to be late. I'll just... Sounds very similar. Cool. It's pretty awesome. Basically, one time, whenever I was about 20, it was before I turned 21. I was on vacation in Mexico, and I was there for about 2 weeks, and I was walking after this girl, and I was like, oh, like, she seems into me, like, we can hit it off, go on a date later. And she split off from, like, our tour group, and when I started walking towards her, I was like, something's not right. Like, I for some reason, I haven't been, like, pursuing after girls in a while. And then I was like, oh yeah, it's because I'm married, and like that doesn't make any sense. So then it occurred to me immediately that I was dreaming. I checked my hands. They look relatively normal, but there's something about looking at my hands that helps pull me into the present moment. I will answer what my favorite scary movie is in a second. And then I basically had a choice. I looked in front of me, and I saw on one side there was the path that she had gone down, and the other side was the path that no one had gone down. Like, it was just an empty path that the dream hadn't led me to, and I wanted to see what was down there. So basically, I just went straight down the path that the dream didn't create for me. I just went down there, and I immediately saw this green yard, this like backyard, and it was like perfect green grass. And then there was like a flower in the middle of it, and it was like a black stemmed flower with red roses. And then I looked to the side, and one side, the same yard kept going on for infinity, and then I looked the other way, and the same side, or same yard kept going on for infinity, just repeated over and over. And so I just like stared at that flower because it was so beautiful, and I thought about picking it, but that seemed like it would be like a bad thing to do. And this old man comes around a corner and basically says to me, "Hey, if you want to stay here, you have to be like that flower." I've met him quite a few times since then, but after that, I decided to spend a lot of time and effort learning how to lucid dream consistently. Raintania, oh, it was the account of someone called Lusitania. Yeah, I remember Lusitania. And so you're saying you're friends with Lusitania? Mike is very quiet. Oh no, that's not good. Let me up that. Let's see. Might just need to get it a little closer. Angle that baby. Is this better? Yeah, I rewatch the streams over and over again too, so yeah, not pressuring myself to make any videos other than streams, and it should be easy to just not have to worry about editing or anything and just enjoy streaming. I'm his sister. Oh, okay. Yeah, I know Lusitania. We talked quite a bit. We argued a lot about square circles and if you can dream about them or not. Okay, so James Johnson asked, what's my favorite scary movie? I recently have just been doing nothing but watching scary movies. I'm currently trying to make all of my dreams just have a tinge of scariness in them, and also practicing like diffusing fear whenever it comes to me. So those have been really fun. I've been listening to as many scary podcasts, YouTube videos, anything like that I can, watching as many scary videos as I can. And so what that's done is like I keep finding these old movies that are really good but just aren't as scary as I was hoping. But yeah, so the coolest one, last night I watched one that was really good. I'm probably going to need to rewatch it to decide how high up it is. But it was Hell House LLC. That one was really good. It's a found footage film. Let's see. My actual favorite though? That's hard. I'm going to think on that a little bit more. Yeah, because like I said, I've just been watching horror movie after horror movie lately. Insidious is definitely up there. I just felt like the connections to the astral projection and dream realm type thing for the further was really fun. I also really liked how the dad acted in that movie. Spoilers for Insidious, but like halfway through the movie, the mom is like freaking out and she's like, "We need to leave, the house is haunted," and the dude just picks up and leaves, and you never see that in a horror movie. Turns out it didn't help, but it was really cool. What's my bench PR? Bench PR would be 205. So he's been offline. Oh well, that sucks. Yeah, I think that yeah, if he wants to join up again, he can learn more about lucid dreaming, and I can explain to him why a square circle. What do I think about The Thing? I just watched The Thing for the first time. I thought it was a really good movie. It was not scary, but the idea was really fun, and it's so rewatchable just because you can follow the thing around. It was really fun. Do I think Get Out is overrated? No. I thought it was really good. I wouldn't say it's overrated or underrated. It seemed like a lot of people really enjoyed it, and I watched it twice because I just, after watching it, I just thought that rephrasing everything and seeing a new perspective would be interesting. And so I rewatched it. The second time, just like zero fear because you know everything that's going on. It's really cool. Also, I really like Key and Peele and all the things that they've been making. I can never remember which one did which. I think that was Peele, but I could be wrong. I find like their sketches to be pretty good. They're up there with like Jake and Amir and people like that. Yeah, I'm back. I want to be doing streams and stuff. It's been a year at least, yeah. I mean, I've still been in OmniLucid, but I haven't been making tutorials. I haven't been helping the community out at all. Yeah. But, I mean, I've still been dreaming. I've still been going through dream goals and stuff like that. It's been fun on my end, but I haven't been putting effort into the community, so I'm currently going through college, so about 6 months in, and just kind of decided like an hour-long break every once in a while to do a stream might not be too bad. Wait. Offline the living realm. Wait, he's no longer with us? He's like, he died? Well, if you can DM me so we can talk about it, or put, like, we can talk in Omni Lucid, I'd like to hear about it. I'm like, that really sucks. So I'm not sure if that's what you mean, but if it is, yeah, that sucks. Sorry to hear that. I gotta keep going on the stream though, but yeah, that sucks. Archangel says it was Peel, but some hate his horror stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I never quite understand what people are comparing things to. Like, I listened to some of his interviews talking about how horror and comedy are so similar, and I felt like whenever you see it through that lens, that, like, again, like, I watched it one time and it was pretty scary. The second time it's kind of funny, just like watching everything unfold. And with that lens looking through it, I felt like he made exactly the movie he wanted to. Well, I'm not in Dream Cafe, but if someone can send a link to Omni Lucid, well, I guess I am in Dream Cafe now. Let's see. That's still pretty sick. You ain't gotta do much for the community. Done all right. Oh, thanks, Jonah. Yeah, I just right now I kind of am looking at things that I can do that I actually just straight up enjoy. And live streaming was really fun. Editing videos was just the butt. I hated it so much. I also didn't have like a computer at the time. I just had like a MacBook, and that sucked. That was really difficult. I did most of the things just on my phone, and I didn't have any money to pay for apps or anything like that. So, just discovered your channel yesterday. Watched 3 lives, learned a lot from you. I'm just 3 weeks in lucid dreaming. Had 1 lucid dream, and now you're live after a year. Lucky me. Hey, glad that you've had a lucid dream. Not everybody gets those in the first couple weeks. It took me, after that dream I mentioned earlier, it took me 45 days to get another one, and 3 weeks again after that. And I spent so much time on everything. I spent hours a day on recall, hours a day on reading, hours a day on techniques and stuff, and it still just took me forever to get lucid dreams. And like, my recall went from 5 a week to 36 dreams a week in like about 2 months, and it's still, lucid dreams were still pretty scarce for me until I figured out mild a little bit better. Ironically, when I get legitimately scared enough, my A off, it's like, well, I'm gonna die, but this clown bozo got me in the wildest way possible. I laugh. Yeah, if I'm like lucid, then it's just really hard for me to be scared. But if I'm not lucid, like, the fear can just get to me. I'm always lucid now, so it's not really anything to worry about. So sending those feelings to a dream just kind of like stop me, put me on my tracks, and be like, oh, hey, it's a dream. I should just slow down and relax, which is pretty nice. Yeah, I'm back on Dream Cafe a little bit. I do love Omni Lucid a lot more. I was one of the group that helped make it. Dream Cafe, I've had some issues with in the past, but there's still some good people over there. There's just like thousands of people that just kind of come in, never talk, or come in, ask questions, and leave. It's just like, it's kind of flooded with noobs, which is fine. We kind of need a place like that, so I'm not too worried about it. Also discovered you recently. Test subject 0, maybe. Much more. Oh, maybe 28 LDs in a year and a half. Oh, that's what it means. Okay, 28 LDs in a year and a half. Oof, that is not. I mean, I hate to be that guy, but that, like, you need to get those numbers up. I'm hoping that this video can help. Does it ever get boring always being lucid? Like, sometimes I just sleep and I'll be like, I gotta forget stuff. Doesn't get tiring. No, I mean, it's like waking life for me right now, you know? Does it get boring in waking life? I know a lot of people get bored while they're awake, and I just never have. I mean, when I was a kid, I would, but then I just kind of realized that the problem with being bored is that you're boring, basically. If you're bored, you just kind of find something to do. I always find things to do. I do goals that last months instead of goals that last minutes. Not because I don't enjoy it, but same with y'all, I assume. I kind of just know what to do. I've asked all my questions, you know. Oh yeah, I know the feeling. What I'd recommend, Jonah, is writing down exactly like what you do, like what you know. That helped me so much to like learn like what worked, and then just basically like, this is what I'm gonna do every single day. If you know what you need to plug in and do. Like, if you can just plug in and do what you know you need to do, just do it. Figured out mild 2 and improving recall. Funny that I got my lucid dreams in 2 days without doing anything, just journaling, no techniques. Yeah, There's a lot of that. Yeah, like we're just like my lucid dream came after a year of not even remembering about lucid dreaming. Like I'd done it once a year before, and then and then just stopped thinking about it. And then a year later, I just had a random one, and then it took me 45 days to get one. 50 plus revelations. I don't know what 50 plus revelations is. Oh, about how to lucid dream. Do I miss Japan? Yes and no. There's certain things to miss and certain things not to. A lot of my friends are there. We developed a friendship. It wasn't the closest friendship ever. But, like I kind of miss the time I spent with them. But it's also kind of just, it's better to like have had that time, enjoy time with them, and just kind of keep moving. I'm not good at keeping in touch with people over long periods of time. But hopefully I can get better with that as I age, and maybe someday I'll go back and talk with them and just kind of, because for me, that was like the whole time of Japan that I was there. But for them, that was just like a 4-year blip for them. It's been about 6 months and now 22 LDs of substance. I want to get those numbers up. I've been less consistent. I've been more spontaneous. Hopefully this stream will help. So as far as substance goes, I am always, and people do not like this, I'm a fan of quantity over quality. I think the more lucid dreams you have, the more quality lucid dreams you will have. So my recommendation is count anything that you actually realize inside your head thinking, I know that this is a dream. If you know that it's a dream, if I'm dreaming, if that thought process happens, even if you wake up a second later, the technique worked. The timing was just off. Or maybe your stabilization didn't. But the technique is what you're measuring with the amount of lucid dreams. 50 plus revolutions around the sun. Oh, yeah, that's quite a bit. It's quite a bit older than the average LDer. Yeah, we only have like one person over 50 in OmniLucid, and yeah, he's a friend of mine. I've been friends with for like 10 years now. Anytime I reach hypnagogic state, I jolt awake. How can I make myself not do that? Now that would be for wild. I think that most wild techniques are terrible, and they basically set you up to reach hypnagogic state and then jolt yourself awake, and then you think I almost had a wild. I don't believe in almost wilds. Unless someone has 100 wild lucid dreams, like wake-initiated lucid dreams underneath their belt, I do not believe them when they say almost wild. I think that they felt the sensations that you feel when you lay still for a while. That's not an almost wild. Finally started getting consistent after years. I get like a lucid dream at night, but I forgot I gotta start remembering dreams again. I may invest in an actual journal instead of a notes app. I like the notes app. I use that for years. If I'm in quantity, it's probably closer to 40 in 6 months. You include like few second ones. I think it's generally all spontaneous. I don't utilize the nighttime technique as much as I must. I guess I'd say I don't believe in spontaneous lucid dreams, but it's more like my idea for all of lucid dreaming is that the goal, or basically like, let's say I have a dream in the night. Ooh, right there, the middle. I have a dream in the night, right? This is 100% right here, right? I had a dream. This is solid. Now, if I'm not doing any techniques, or I'm just like an average human, I just have a dream, this is like the percentage of like the odds of me getting lucid. Now, if I'm a lucid dreamer and I do some techniques, I can move that up a little bit. And if I do more techniques over long periods of time, if I have tons of lucids, that moves up over and over, right? So then what you end up having, and it's obviously throughout the night, it'll go up and down depending on different REM periods and stuff like that. But the main thing is that it's all about moving that percentage. It's not about doing a technique. It's about raising the percentage. And I think every person has just like a small percentage of getting lucid. And then if you do techniques, like if I do mild for like a week, or if someone does mild for like a week, their odds moved up. And then like 2 weeks later, if they didn't do mild for those 2 weeks, their odds are still up quite a bit. So I wouldn't call them spontaneous. Substance like melatonin or medicine that helps you to sleep intervene with dreaming. I don't like melatonin or any medicine that helps you to sleep. I think it does. Interfere. It could help. It could hurt. At the end of the day, I like to do things more natural. But also, I have insomnia, and I have lost so many nights of sleep. And melatonin doesn't ever help me or anything like that. So I never thought I should keep taking it. Anything like melatonin, look it up. Most people are going to be taking like 10 milligrams. Whenever you look at it, it's like I think 2 or 3 milligrams what you should be taking. So people are taking way too much. The only one that I think has been studied to actually help is, I can't remember the name of it right now. I never like supplements with that. I feel like most of them, they set you up for failure because they push you high up, but then you drop back down when you're not using them. They get your body used to a too high amount of something, and your body stops creating the chemicals you need. Private Discord channel, though it helps to keep track of a bunch of other stuff and lets me make a Discord store of a bunch of coins. Yeah, I also have a private Discord that's got all my journals in there. I've got like the gifts that I give my wife. Like I put them in there so that I know which ones I've given her. I know which ones I can give her in the future. All sorts of stuff like that. I've got the Amazon links for that in there. I've got my workout journal in there. I've got my goals for school in there. That's all in the private Discord. Melatonin seems to reduce recall. Yeah, I've never noticed any change with recall, but also I've had a really good recall since the beginning stages of lucid dreaming. I spent hours and hours a day working on it. So it's like 210, cannot sleep without opioids. Well, that's not good. Definitely, if you have like a lot of different things like that, I would try to talk to your doctor that's giving you that stuff and just basically say, like, what's the healthiest I can be? Like, is me having these forever healthy, or should I be dropping them slowly? Is there any techniques I can do outside of this? Like, just try to, in my mind, staying off as much medicine as possible is generally going to be the healthiest, with the help and assistance of a doctor. You think of sleeping techniques like military 378. Did you try them? I did, yes. And a lot of them worked for a bit and then stopped working. A lot of them work really well for naps, but don't work for initial nighttime, which is when I struggle to sleep. It pushed me to be more consistent with nighttime techniques, really look forward to knowledge. So what I would say for nighttime techniques, I think every single thing leading up to nighttime techniques is just practice for nighttime techniques. So if you aren't doing nighttime techniques, yeah, you've got this like small percentage here that you've increased just with your skills alone and stuff like that. But when you do nighttime techniques, that number jumps higher than any other. Sup, Skyfall? Yeah, let me drop in any questions if you have any. And I can answer them. You can listen whenever you get back, whenever you are able to check the VOD. Tapering off is definitely healthiest. Going cold turkey on melatonin or any other pills. Yeah, it can cause a lot of issues because your body's used to so much more melatonin. It's not gonna be making almost any. All right. Seems like we got people here, so let's go ahead and look at mild technique. So if you have a version of Exploring the World of Lucid Dreaming, I'm going to be reading a little bit from that, and I'm just going to be talking about it. If you've seen my video on mild, this is the same technique. You can only just hear me. Oh, dang. Let me stand a little closer. How's this? Is this good? Is this wonderful? Yeah, I need to check my audio because I don't want to stand that close. Let me up something properly. Resign it. Nope. Yeah, I guess I'll just have to stand closer. That's on me. I don't like hunching over. So let's look at mild. I think the only technique I feel pretty much you can everyone should use is sporadic awareness technique. No technique has helped me more. Okay, so one thing about this type of thinking I've seen is people will try dream journaling, and they'll try like dream journaling a ton. They'll try mild a ton. Then they'll finally like add sporadic awareness technique, and then they're like, oh my gosh, it's just sporadic awareness technique. And that's like the only thing that I needed. And it's like, yeah, but you built all these other skills, right? Sporadic awareness technique was created by Puffin a long time ago. It's basically sporadically becoming aware. Separation awareness. It's sporadic awareness. I'm pretty sure. I can double check. But, let me check. Puffin's guide. Lucid dreaming. Puffin style guide. Good old dream views. Sporadic awareness technique, yeah. I will send that because we're not talking about that today. Bloink. There you go. Send. Stake is taking a subjective result and applying it universally to everyone, assuming they will get the same benefits. That basic dialed RC stuff. So this is a little different because it is sporadic and it's very specific about what awareness you need. So a lot of things just say raise your awareness. I don't really know what that means. Sporadic awareness technique is very specifically your awareness of the waking world and the dream world. No, it's not the only thing you need, but the technique is so easy, and no matter what to your main technique you're using, you should just use SAT. Yeah, and what I really found out with SAT, it's great for day work. I forgot to mention that's the other main thing I'm doing for induction. Yeah, so for me, I read SAT, I read the RCs, I read Exploring the World of Lucid Dreams. I read a lot of things like that. And what I accidentally kind of ended up doing was sporadically throughout the day, I would do mild. And I think that that's one of the things that really helped me to understand like what I was doing. Just because I was working on recall throughout the day, I was working on my intent, all sorts of stuff like that. So the mild technique, let's go. So let me zoom in a bit. I'm not gonna have it up on the screen just because, well, I don't really have I don't have the book on me. If I had the book on me, I'd feel better about putting it on the screen. It's in my spare room somewhere. But it just kind of feels weird. So I'm just going to be reading these excerpts. So, mild technique. First step is set up dream recall. Before going to bed, resolve to wake up and recall dreams during each dream period throughout the night, or the first dream period after dawn, or after 6 a.m., or whenever you find convenient. So the first thing that it says in the mild technique, right, is to wake through the night to remember dreams. Now, if you guys know me, my main thing is waking in the night and recall. First step of the mild technique, set up dream recall. Wake in the night, work on recall. Like, that's literally, whenever people say the mild technique works, this is the first step. You like mild setting intent once or twice or 2 to 3 minutes and continue your day. Yeah, I would do that just randomly throughout the day, multiple times throughout the day. I tried a lot of different things. I used to work outside. Now, I still like work relatively simple places where I can just drive and stuff like that. But I would work outside, and it gave me a lot of instances to just think about lucid dreaming and work on it there. Step 2 is to recall your dream. When you awaken from a dream period, no matter what time it is, try to recall as many details as possible from your dream. If you find yourself so drowsy that you're drifting back to sleep, do something to rouse yourself. I have never heard that I look like Mr. Croup from Captain Underpants. Do I think it can be achieved in a meaningful way? You're going to have to define meaningful for that. Which terms are alien? Oh, I guess, yeah, you said you haven't learned about lucid dreaming, so. Mild really, the Ice Cube, Gangster Rap, Lucid Dreaming, so some cool, good stuff. Classic that will live forever. Let me know if I'm talking too fast, or if I'm slurring my words too much. I get told that a lot in waking life, or IRL. Ever since I'm brain dead throughout the day, my occasional lucids are not meaningful, just random lucids I lose very fast. Oh, I see. You mean like meaningful lucidity. I don't see much of a difference. In technique, I do. Badger's cousin. Wait, Badger's cousin, not Jesse. It's, is Badger Brandon, or is the other one Brandon? I forget. But, yeah. So, let me see. Oh, yeah, so no matter what technique I'm doing, after I get lucid, I just consider it, like, it doesn't feel like the technique to get me lucid mattered after I get lucid. It's triggered lucidity, I'm lucid, and now it just depends on timing from there. Now, the technique I get... thanks, programmer. The technique that I get, frick, what was I gonna say? The technique might change the time of day that you get lucid, but the main thing that's going to change that time of day would be the time that you wake throughout the night. 1 second, I'm gonna have to mute this. All right, I'm back. Badger's Branding. Oh, Skinny Pete's real name is unknown to this day. Dang. I wish they'd stop making Brandons look so dumb in TV shows. It's Skinny. Oh yeah, his name would be Pete, right? Like Peter, right? How mild is a skill? Let's say learning an athletic skill. So what aspects of it do you focus on to drive improvement? So that's an interesting question, especially since I usually point everything back to it being a skill. So the way that I see mild is mnemonic, right? Which means it's about memory, right? It's not a fancy, it's not like this magical word, it's not this magical thing, it's just a mnemonic device to try to connect two things. That's what mnemonic devices are for, right? Whenever you go to school, you might have a flashcard. Like let's say, for instance, you're learning Chinese or Japanese, right? And on one side of the flashcard you have this, right? And on the other side of the flashcard you have this. And you'd have 1, right? So then you look at it and you say, oh, this is what 1 looks like, this is 1. Like you have 2 things, you're trying to connect those ideas. So with mild, what 2 things are you trying to connect? And this is something I don't hear enough people talking about. Yeah, so when you do something you never do in a lucid dream, does your brain just fill in a gap, or is it a random thing? I don't think anything in the world is like technically random. It doesn't seem to be like an actual thing. But with filling in the gaps and stuff like that, it might as well be random, if that makes sense. A lot of times it's going to be depending on your perspective and your dream world that you're in. It's going to depend on, like, because you have not just one perspective, you have like thousands of perspectives that are all stacked up. Like my perspective of it being a dream might change what happens. My perspective of it being like I'm in Hyrule, right? That's going to change things. Like if I get stabbed in Hyrule, it's probably not going to hurt. If I get stabbed and I'm in, I don't even remember what it's called, the place that they're at, Westeros, right? Then I'm probably going to feel a lot of pain, right? How the dream characters are going to act is also going to change depending on all of these perspectives. But one overarching perspective, like I'm in a dream, can change all of that and go through each level of perspective. So with thinking of it like a mnemonic, this is my idea of mild right here. It's what I brought up a million times. I'm going to write it down on a piece of paper, basically. You were trying to connect 2 ideas, right? Just like the kanji for 1 and just like, the word for 1 or the idea of 1. I'm trying to connect 2 ideas. The 2 ideas are, I haven't written anything else, just that, are my dreams and the idea of dreams. So that whenever I see my dreams, my thought pops, my brain says, this reminds me of a dream. This is a dream. I remember that this is a dream. So the intent used is similar to the intent of studying for a test, right? If I am studying for a test, I might write this down on one side of the flashcard, this on the other. So when people say, can you get better at it? I say, yes, like just like you can get better at, like I've been doing college, so I've got all these lists of words and ideas that I need to memorize because I've never really been that much into IT or anything like that before. And now I'm going into computer science and I'm looking at all these things. And it's like, okay, well, here's a new word. I need to figure out exactly, I'm going to figure out exactly what all of this does. Please don't smoke marijuana. It does not help you lucid dream. It cuts down your REM. It makes it harder for you to remember things, harder for you to set intentions, harder for you to follow through with intentions, and harder for you to desire to do anything else. Most of what's talked about always seems to be about inducing lucid dreams. I'm not sure if I understood you correctly, but some techniques like ADA, in my opinion, also help with the afterwards part of getting lucid. I don't like ADA in any way, shape, or form, so I will definitely not be agreeing with that. I think ADA does nothing to help you get lucid. I don't think I've got your perspective. What do you think about using REM rebound from cannabis as a lucid dreaming assist? I don't like any supplements. If I can't get there on my own, I shouldn't be there. That's my idea. It's the same thing I come up with, same way that I go with climbing a tree. If I can't climb the tree, I'm probably not going to be able to climb back down. I don't like that idea. We can talk about that more later, though. Void way. Okay. So far, we've only gone through 2 steps of mild. SAT is greater than ADA. I don't even think ADA is like a real technique. Now, there might be an idea that what's-his-name was going through, that he was trying to say, that King Yoshi was trying to say, but if it was, it's not written in his guide. Voidway tricked me. Oh, dang it. Don't listen to Voidway. No, I'm just kidding. He's actually got some good stuff. Voidway's not a bad resource. Okay, so we got 1, set up your recall, right? Wake in the night. Step 2, recall your dream. Really important. Spend some time recalling your dream. This is literally part of the mild technique. So when people tell me, oh, I can't do mild technique, or I can't spend time recalling my dreams because I have to move on to the mild technique, it's like, bro, recall your dreams. That's part of it. Sit down, try to remember. If you feel like you're falling asleep when you're trying to recall your dreams, then sit up. Also, does meditation help with lucid dreaming? And if yes, how? Meditation does help with lucid dreaming. I think of meditation as like working out. A lot of people don't agree with me on this at all, especially meditation practitioners. But I think of it like working out. Whereas dreaming is like my sport that I play. Meditation is like going and hitting the gym and exercising. It helps my brain be more malleable as well as more strong. Should I meditate on my intent, like do mild for 10 minutes of meditation? I generally recommend doing mild for 20 minutes before bed. I mean, you can call it meditation, you can call it whatever you want, but I recommend just sitting there for 20 minutes and doing mild. And then when you wake up, you kind of have some idea of what to pull from. Especially if you don't have any dreams, you can pull from those dreams you were using. Meditation helps with every single thing you do in life. It depends on how much meditation. Yeah, don't listen to YouTube commenters. That's the main thing. This is why I don't have weed in my house. Actually, there's a lot of reasons I don't have weed in my house. Okay, so step 3, focus your intent. While returning to sleep, concentrate single-mindedly on your intention to remember to recognize that you're dreaming. That is a weird sentence. Single-mindedly on your intention to remember to recognize that you're dreaming. Tell yourself, the next time I'm dreaming, I want to remember I'm dreaming. Really try to feel that you mean it. Narrow your thoughts to this idea alone. If you find yourself thinking about anything else, just let go of those thoughts and bring your mind back to your intention to remember, right? So you're trying to think of a time in the future, right? With intention, you're sort of seeing what the future looks like, right? You're like, in the future, in the next 5 to 10 minutes, I'm probably gonna go into a dream. When I'm in that dream, I'm going to do this thing. So the way I like to see this is, I mean, does everybody here play video games, right? I play a video game, and what happens is I sit down and I'm like playing a game, and it's like, oh, next time I level up, I'm gonna level up my attack, and then after that I'm gonna level up my speed. So in my head, I don't sit there and like think like, oh my gosh, I gotta level up my attack, my speed, my attack, my speed. My mind just puts it into the future. It's like, oh hey, next time you see that little level up sign, put it into attack, and then after that put it into speed, right? So yeah, basically that's my idea of that's all we're doing. Basically, we're playing a video game, we're looking into the future, and we're deciding what we're gonna do based on what things we think are gonna happen in the future. The more accustomed to your dreams you get, the more dreams you have that you can remember right now. I generally recommend to be able to recall at least the last week of your dreams, right? To remember them consistently. And I generally recommend that people remember 28 dreams in a week. At that point, I consider your recall to be good. I say good, but I mean, by 4 dreams, I generally remember, 4 fragments, but most people here would call that a dream. Good resources for meditation. There's a lot of good resources in Tibetan Yogas of Sleep and Dreams. And there's also a book called Wherever You Go, There You Are. There's a couple of other books I've read about it, but those ones one of them's for lucid dreaming specifically. One of them is a really good intro to meditation if you're looking at different ways that it can work. Let's not say ADA, but try to be aware all the time. Does definitely help me have better, more stable time after getting lucid. Just getting lucid didn't help me that much. I don't know being aware of what, because humans are aware. Like, we're constantly aware. Our memory sometimes is like down and up and down and up. We're conscious beings. We are aware of things around us, right? So I'm always aware of things, right? And I have ADHD. I bounce around from topic to topic to topic. And when I'm driving, I'm listening to YouTube videos. Whenever I am cleaning, I have movies on and stuff like that. Like, I have so many things. And so when people tell me that you need this awareness, this constant awareness, blah, 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 I think they have it wrong. Now, I can say what awareness I think that humans should have if they want to get lucid, which is the awareness that dreams and waking life exist and which one I'm in. That's the awareness I want. Now, if you guys have talked to anybody that's like an expert in their field, right? You talk to like an artist, they see the world differently, right? They see the world as an artist. And that's the type of awareness I think that it's talking about. Now, you can focus on that sort of thing. So like when I see a bridge or something like that, I'm just like, thing to drive over. That's what my mind sees. Whereas other people, whenever they see a bridge that is like an artist, they're going to see these colors and they're going to like imagine like what it would take to draw it. They can see all this sort of different things, you know, especially with like music and stuff like that. They hear things so much differently, right? Because their perspective on the world includes that art. My perspective on the world includes dreams. Every time I see something, my mind says this is a waking thing, this is a dreaming thing, this is a wake. It just separates it, right? That's what's changed for me. Let's see where I'm at. I can never figure how to actually intent to remember that I'm dreaming. I know how intent works. Like, I want to clean my room at 5 p.m., but in the context of dreaming, it just feels, well, I think a lot of times the intent just doesn't go through because most people don't have good recall. Hotshot. Like I said, I recommend people start getting 28 fragments a week of dreams. And that you get to there, it all of a sudden you know you're going to go back into a dream when you go back to sleep. Is that exhausting at first? No, I love it. Is being awake all day exhausting? I'm sleeping. I'm relaxing. I remember one time I became lucid, and I felt like I was in a pretty like stressed out time in life where I just had like 1,000 things to do, and I was all of a sudden I was like, I don't have to do anything. I was like, this is amazing, because every single thing on my to-do list had been done while I was awake. But while I was asleep, my to-do list was to sleep. So everything I needed to do was just, I could do whatever I wanted. I'm not uncomfortable. I'm fine. Like remember them without reading my journal. I would say if you need to reread your journal every time to remember all the dreams in the last week, then do that. Tarek Osama Hawarna. Try to put importance in my head, like I gotta be up at 9, but 2, not be late for my ride. Think the same way. I gotta recognize I'm dreaming so I can have a crazy night. LeBurge sounds French, and smoking with French people did not end well. I think LeBurge is American. Well, I mean, intent self doesn't feel tangible. I'm thinking about the action, but I can't really feel like this is something I'm genuinely intending to do. I do think that's just because you don't have a thing in the future that you need to like really connect. You really want to connect this idea of this dream in the future. Now, I cheat in every single thing with lucid dreaming, and I'm sorry about that. You guys need to learn how to cheat too, okay? I'm really good at incubation. I can choose what I'm going to dream about. Now, that doesn't just mean that I can choose what I'm going to dream about, but I also have a pretty good idea of what I'm going to dream about. And I can just take that strand in my head, and I can just add onto it. Like, oh, I'm just going to add dreaming right into that, which is why I'm omni through incubation. From continually doing that, all of my dreams change to being lucid. Now, that doesn't mean that all of my dreams aren't railed, but it does mean that all of my dreams are lucid. I'm going to make a private story called Smoking in your top 5. Nice. Thank you. So being aware, it's waking life all the time would be the end goal. If it's waking life means that dream life also exists. It can't just be I'm awake, because people already assume that, right? We already think, oh, I'm awake. If you ask anybody, like, do you know if you're awake or dreaming? They're going to say, I'm awake, right? They don't actually think about it. But for me, I don't need to think about it. It's there. How do you boost the feeling thing? Talks about in regards to smile. Oh. So I have a technique for that specifically. Let me see. Am I signed in? I am signed in. Perfect. Let me go to, we might go over this afterwards, but I'll send it right now into my latest started threads. Where are you at, buddy? Can you use mild to incubate a dream? I mean, it wouldn't be mild anymore, but mild in my mind, the way that I see mild, is incubation. So it's just incubating lucidity. Self-reinforce, how do you boost the feeling? Oh yeah, so what's incubation? Sounds like pregnancy. So incubation is choosing what you're gonna dream about. So when I was like 16, I decided to start dreaming that I could use the force, which is basically just telekinesis in the sense that I was trying to use it. So I would just imagine all day. I would just say to myself, I can use the force. I also would continue dreams, or I would continue different parts of dreams. There we go. So this is how I boost the feeling that that LaVerge talks about. Hopefully we'll get to that after we go through this. Okay, so focusing your intent. Next time I'm dreaming, I want to remember. So again, I'm looking at the flashcards. The first flashcard is my dreams that I've had. All of them. I could think through all these dreams. I could think through the last dream I had. I can think through the hundreds of dreams I've had. Now, the last dream you've had is probably going to be slightly similar to the dreams you're going to be having tonight. So that's the most important one to focus on with mild. One thing I use a lot is whichever one seems the shiniest. You know when you like look past in the past of your memories, and you see like one memory just kind of like sticks out through the week. Like if I think of like my past week, there's a couple of memories that stand out, you know, like a couple of different times with my kids and things like that. And those are like the shiny memories, right? Those in my mind are the ones you're most likely going to be dreaming about. Now I might not dream the exact thing, but those feelings are going to be the ones that make it to the dream. So those are the ones that I would mild on. Let's see. I've been playing tons of STS. I don't know what STS is. Lately, and last night I had a dream about a card game, so I was super hyped about that. Yeah, that is cool. That is, I mean, that's just the steps for incubation is you see something that may have gotten into a dream because of something you did, and then you change it slightly and you repeat it over and over and over. And eventually you have like basically you're pressing a button, right? And you're hoping it works. And you're like, I don't know if it'll work one night, but I'll hit that button every single day, right? I'm going to think about this, think about this, think about this. And after a long period of time, I've got like a full controller in my hand of different buttons I can press while I'm awake that will change my dreams. One of these buttons is mild. Oh, Slay the Spire. Okay, I do know that game. So it says here, you're focusing your intent, right? You're thinking, next time I'm dreaming, I want to remember I'm dreaming. In my mind, I just say I'm dreaming. This is against what LaBerge says, so this is the own sensei way of doing things. I just say I'm dreaming. That's the only thought that I want to connect to my dreams is I'm dreaming. I see this, one side of the flashcard is my dreams, other side of the flashcard is I'm dreaming. That's the thought I want in my dreams. And see yourself become lucid. At the same time that you're doing that, imagine that you're back in the dream from which you've just awakened. By this time, you recognize that it's a dream. Find a dream sign. Or when you say to yourself, I'm dreaming, and continue your fantasy. For example, you might decide this when you are lucid and want to fly. In that case, imagine yourself taking off and flying. As soon as you become to the point in your fantasy, you realize you're dreaming. Now, what I would recommend here is if there was a point, if you guys aren't writing down your thoughts on dreams as you're having them, like whenever you have a dream, you need to be writing down the thoughts you had during the dream as well, right? Like I looked over there and that door seemed weird. Anytime you see the term weird, there's a good chance that your actual dream mind thought that was weird. That feeling of weird is very common, but mainly for dreams. So whenever you think of that feeling, you can think of that feeling and just repeat that feeling over and over in your head and be like, that's a dream feeling, that's a dream feeling, that's a dream feeling, that's a dream feeling. And then whenever you have that feeling, the next time you look, you're like, that door's weird, and you're like, hold on, I'm dreaming. So that's what I do, is I focus on that moment. Now I might add in some color and flavor to, if I want to keep the same dream, if I think that I need a little bit more effort. I find this part takes a lot of effort, imagining what I would do. I don't worry about goals other than what I wanted to do for the longest time was just get lucid. So I just imagine myself getting lucid. I would rinse and repeat, right? But also me getting lucid, my first goal is always stop, stare at my hands. Calms me down, makes me feel like I am right here. These are my hands, right? Now in the dream, they aren't my hands, but in my mind, this idea of our hands are probably the first things outside of our brain that we associate with ourselves when we're kids. If you watch children, they don't seem to notice when their feet hit things. They don't seem to notice when other things hit things in a way that they can actually affect the world around them. But your hands are how you affect the world around you. So it says here, repeat steps 3 and 4 until your intention's set, right? So again, people focus a lot on dream signs. I think dream signs are really helpful long term. Short term, I would focus on those times. Like you could say that seeing something as weird is short term. But again, we're looking at this long term. My goal for people is not that you're going to have a lucid dream this week or next week or the week after. My goal is that in 6 months, you'll have one lucid dream a week at least. All fun and games until you don't have hands. Been there in dreams. Not the funnest, but I can make something of it. Okay, so that is the mild technique, and then there's a little excerpt outside of that. Commentary. Oh yeah, you find yourself thinking of anything else, repeat this procedure so that the last thing you have on your mind before falling asleep is your intention. Remember to recognize the next time you're dreaming. Man, so many words, so little said there, honestly. Basically saying, do it until you feel the intention set, and then keep doing it until you fall asleep. I don't recommend that. I can't fall asleep if I'm trying to do this. So I'm literally I do it after I feel good about it. If you read that technique I sent earlier, I do it until I feel good about it. As soon as I feel good about it, I stop it and I go to sleep. So it says here, if all goes well, you'll fall asleep and find yourself in a dream. Blah, 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 blah. If you're a very deep sleeper, you should get up after memorizing your dream and engage in 10 to 15 minutes of an activity requiring full wakefulness. Turn on the light and read a book. Get out of bed and go into another room. People ask me, they're like, hey, I can't do mild at night. Like I wake up and I'm too drowsy. I'm like, sit up. And they're like, I can't sit up. I'm too tired. I'm like, oh, then you need to sit up. And they're like, well, I just need something to one thing to do, because if I start sitting up, I might even fall asleep during that. I'm like, do a burpee. And they're like, that's crazy. I'm like, do anything you possibly can. The list of things that I would do to get lucid was just all of the things. I would do anything to get lucid at the beginning, right? Now that being said, obviously I wouldn't break my morals, but again, I'm talking about list of effortful things, putting effort into it. If someone told me setting an alarm every 5 minutes would get me more lucid, I would do it. In fact, I tried that. Didn't work. Holy crap. But You need to focus and focus and focus and stop thinking, what do I need to do? Like, what's the minimum amount of effort I need to do to get lucid? You need to think, how much can I do to increase that? Like, one thing I always say to people is to dream journal for like an hour a day. And I say 20 minutes at least, an hour a day if you want to see like the greatest improvement of your life. And they're like, well, do I have to? I'm like, no, you don't have to. But if you want to see like crazy good, then an hour a day. I did it for 6 months, and after that, I never did an hour a day again. Well, I tried an hour a day again, but it's really hard because my recall was so good that an hour a day, it seemed kind of worthless because my recall was already really good. But at the beginning, again, 6 months of an hour a day, you know? That's 180 hours just focused on dream recall. And that's not including the 20 minutes of mild before sleep and the 5 minutes every single waking every night, which is like at the time was 3 to 6. Now it's almost always 6. Yes, the stream will be saved. It's 2 a.m. and I'd love to watch this in the morning. Yep, should be saved after this. So, might as well go into how to effectively use techniques, okay? Now, I wrote this a long time ago. So, what I'm going to do is just sum it up. If you guys need the guide, I'll resend it real fast here if you guys want to follow along. So, we're looking at how to effectively use techniques. Yeah, I'm doing murder for Lucid. I mean, mild, definitely mild. Yeah. So, here we go. Basically, it says here, this is probably the closest I'll get to writing what I do to get lucid. This is a long time ago, right? I wrote this in 2017. I've written a lot of techniques since then and stuff like that. What if I don't remember an hour's worth of dreams? Should I write them again? Yes. Write them again. Write yesterday's dream. Or just try to pull more and more and more details, right? What was the color of your hands? What was the color of your shoes? What was the color of like the clothes that people were wearing around you? Can you remember which way was north? What did you think the people around you were thinking? Did it feel like you had a goal that you needed to get to? What was that goal? Did you feel like you were going against it or towards it? Stuff like that. My foot just touched that. Sup, Lavender. So, I basically, after less than a week, I had no issue writing an hour a day. It's super easy because there's just so many things, so many details to write. You need to write like you're trying to give as many details into this world as possible. Do you mean read your dream journal an hour a day or write an hour? I mean write an hour. Right. When you wake up, write for an hour. And a lot of people are like, well, I don't wake up enough time. Go to bed an hour earlier. Like, if you don't want to do that, 20 minutes is the minimum in my mind. If you want to see great improvements with your recall, great improvements with anything, 20 minutes is a minimum. If you wake up during the night and dream journal during the night, it becomes a lot less. I used to wake up and just write. I used to just wake up and I'd write like 5 minutes every single waking, right? And that's 7 wakings a night, so that'd be 35 minutes. And then all I've really lost is like 35 minutes of sleep. 7 wakings means 6 throughout the night, 7 at the very end. All right, so this is how to make dial techniques more effective. So basically, when first lucid dreaming, you don't even know the feeling, so it can be muddled and hard to follow. It's been to help people at the beginning. When you have 50 to 100 lucid dreams, you'll generally start doing technique shuffle. Now, if you're not at technique shuffle, still, I think this can help you, right? Technique shuffle, a lot of people, they're like, oh, this is what works. And then they spam that. And as they spam it, it just gets less and less and less effective. And I know someone that continually just, the only thing that seemed to help him get lucid was changing techniques, which eventually you run out of techniques. After 100, people start to get the tech down that gets them the feeling. But dry spells and things leave the feeling, are going to hurt them and make it harder for them than it needs to be. So basically from 50 to 100 or 50 to 150, or sometimes even 25 to 150, people get this idea that they kind of need to change their technique. Like what they're doing is kind of working, but they need to like freshen it up because they're unable to like put the same intent over and over and over. And what happens, I think, is they need to focus more on this feeling. Now, after about 100 lucid dreams or 150 lucid dreams, most people know what they're aiming for. They don't even do mild for the amount of time that most people say to do it. Like when I was doing mild for a long time, it would be like 15 seconds of mild before bed, 15 seconds of mild during the night. And the reason I would stop there is because my intent was set. I could feel it. It was there. So it says here, daytime. Have you ever had the feeling that you were definitely going to lucid dream tonight? Now, that's it. If you've had over 100 lucid dreams, almost everyone's going to say, yes, for sure, I've had that feeling. If you have that feeling, stop. Just, you got it, right? It says here, I doubt the feeling is the exact same for everyone, but it's called what I call peak performance. Is the best you can get at lucid dreaming for your experience level for day work. The problem here is that people are stuck to their techniques. So they end up breaking out of this feeling. So basically, they get the feeling and they keep going and pushing and pushing and pushing until they're out of that feeling again. But what they need to do is they need to get to that feeling and just stay there. And if it goes down, they just push it back up again. If it goes down, push it back up again. So then they say that they're working too hard for a technique. It's like, no, you're not working too hard. The hardest you can work is the most efficient, which means you need to focus on exactly how much to do this. Now, at the beginning, you don't know how much effort to put. You cannot work too hard. You can put hours and hours a day, as long as you're not stressing. So instead of, so basically the next techniques are trying to get you to this point where you can just easily shoot and score because you're already near the basket, but a lot of people just keep moving away from the basket. Techniques are there to get you to the feeling. If you have the feeling, the techniques are not needed and sometimes harmful. Nighttime, before you go to bed, instead of spending 30 minutes visualizing getting lucid over and over or something like that, visualize what you do when you get lucid because you are already taking a good shot. So if you have the feeling, don't sit there and try to get the feeling because it's already there. Just focus on what your other things you want to do. Focus on your recall again. Focus on other things. Just enjoy some time thinking about lucidity without even trying to grasp it, right? Wake back to beds, micro wake back to beds, dials, all these things have one thing in common, waking up. Why is this important? Because the feeling is not there. Now, when you go to sleep, you have like this feeling, you're like, I'm going to get lucid tonight. And the most likely lucid places for you to get lucid is like 6 hours in. There's this 6 hour gap between that feeling and when you're trying to get lucid. So waking in the night moves that feeling closer to the time. This is like studying right before a test, right? Just like refreshing on it. So I studied yesterday, but I'm taking the test tonight. I'm just going to do a little refresher, right? I'm just going to check it out right before I go in. All right, I've missed out on. So that's why I think the most important thing to do during the night is bring the feeling back. If you wake up from a lucid dream, you still have a feeling. Maybe write down a dream or two, but go back to sleep. A lot of times I wouldn't even. As soon as I got lucid, I would just sleep as much as humanly possible because I knew I could go back with that feeling. I'm sure the intention, yes. The feeling like I know that I'm going to lucid dream. Hot shot. All right. Let's see. Idea, make a list of those questions for people to use to pull up details in dream journaling. Yes, I've made up a list of that before for people and they've enjoyed it, but I need to like actually find it. I need to like just write them out. Some of the things help me a ton, which is just like, again, like, where is this in relation to my house? Is this like, do I know where I'm at all? Do I not know where I'm at? That'd be a good like dream thing right there. Get like a sliver of focus before waking up. No dreaming in general. I'd work on dream recall, especially significant quantitative. Yeah, Skyfall is right there. I don't know why he's supposed to be off. I don't know why he's on. Feelings are goated, agree. No, not lucidity, just focus on what happens in dreams in general, like things that happen too fast. Yeah. Should I do that in the morning? Because if I focus on details too much, it'll be hard to sleep knowing that I wake 4 times a night. If you're working on recall, the most important thing you need to do is focus on recall. If you wake up during the night and you have a dream that you want to recall and you can't spend the time to write it out because you might not be able to go to sleep, write down as much as you can while still being able to go to sleep. I recommend writing a person, a place, and a thing, or person, place, and what you were doing. Say, I'm with John. We're at the mall and we're running together, right? Now you have a full image in your head that you can pull up in the morning. And that way, in the morning when you wake up, you're like, oh yeah, we did. And John was wearing a freaking skirt, and John was in high heels, but also John had like a Roman like centurion chest plate on, like just like weird things. Just write them all down when you wake up. And you're like, and there was also like a frozen lake near the mall. Like, why was that there? So we call that tagging. Yeah. How long are my micro wake back to bed? So they used to be 5 to 10 minutes each. Now it's about a minute. I just wake up. If I just wake up and I push the feeling forward. Actually, I don't even push the feeling forward. I just kind of like catalog my dreams as they're happening. I'm just kind of like, oh, I'm doing this. But I don't need to do techniques anymore, so it's a little different. Right now I'm pushing the feeling of nightmare stuff in there. Daniel Love is a big proponent of critical thinking. Where does this stack ranking? I'm going to guess what he means with critical thinking is probably the ability to like critical think in the dream. But he also might be talking about like critical thinking when looking through techniques and how to do things. So it really just depends. If he's talking about like actual critical thinking within the dream, like making decisions in the dream, if you're wondering how that works with recall, you need to be recalling and focusing on your thoughts, because the more you remember your thoughts, the more thoughts you're going to like be able to remember and utilize inside a dream. The things that you focus on in dreams, the things that you focus on when you're recalling, are the things that are going to stand out the next time you're in a dream. So your thoughts are the most important because that's the part that's getting lucid. Good sleep schedule. Better you are at lucid dreaming, the more you can stress the idea of a good sleep schedule. I used to sleep before 11. Stress the idea of what a good sleep schedule is. So I used to go to sleep before 11 for 3 nights in a row. Now it's different. Even if I stay up to 1 or 2, I can still usually lucid dream. Basically, you said trippy since, what is the beef with John? Wait, hold on. I don't know what the beef is with John. Trippy since mall has been, the mall is one of the first persistent places I had in my dream world. I think that malls, especially for people a little bit older, it's kind of like the place that we see as like we're going out, so we're going to the mall, especially if you live in a town that doesn't have much else. And all of the malls in my dream world are all connected if you go deep into them. Yeah, just need recall. You've got it. Focus on recall. If you have like just the best recall, you will not go wrong. So you're wanting to use the dreams for mild. You're trying to remember better. So like, hey, night owl. Dang it, we're talking about nightmares. I'm late to buy. I have not talked about nightmares yet. Husband. Sup, Hokif. Nice to see you. Not really interested in dreams, just better focus on my dreams would be nice. Stuff happen in them but cannot understand what's going on in them, usually blank. Yeah, you're just going to need to focus on recall. If you want to know more about what's happening in your dreams, write down your dreams. Like it's as simple as that. It's not the only way to remember dreams, but it is the best way as far as time put in. Oh yeah, so nightmares. Basically, yeah, I figured I've had quite a few nightmares. I don't know if anybody has any questions about nightmares that I have or anything like that. I figured I would just add it because that's kind of my current dream goal, is to get these sort of nightmare scenarios. They won't be full nightmares, but they will be similar. And I can share any nightmares if people want to talk about it, or if they have any questions about what causes nightmares, things like that. So, in the past, I worked on nightmares, and I tried to get nightmares into my dreams, and I used the feeling of kind of being a little stressed out, anxious, and after a few weeks, I started getting nightmares, and I started getting like more and more awareness in my dreams, and it was really good, except the fact that I was focused on anxiety throughout the day, and I started feeling terrible just all day. So I had to stop doing it because it was affecting waking life. I do enjoy nightmares. When they happen, I don't like them. If it's like a lucid nightmare, where it's actually like that feeling of helplessness, I can't wake up, things are like, someone's like pulling me into a dream or something like that, and I just can't like fight it. Can I turn night terrors into this dream? Because it really can mess with someone's house. That depends on, so I enjoy nightmares after I wake up. I really enjoy them. Similar to like, I enjoy scary movies and stuff like that. Night terrors, it depends on if you're talking about nightmares or night terrors. Night terrors, as far as I know, the person that's having them does not know that they're happening. I'll let Hukif answer that. What's the scariest scenarios you can imagine? Something to frighten you you'd rather not think about? Let's see. The scariest scenario. Well, I can tell you my scariest nightmare, if that would help. I don't really have like many things I'm worried about in real life. I'm pretty like go with the flow type of person. If bad things happen, they happen. I have children, so that's probably the worst that could happen. Would be something going wrong with them, or them being, like bad things consistently happening to them. But that's like kind of a gimme, just like, oh yeah, it's that. But when I'm dreaming, it's nice because I know that my children aren't there. Anytime they show up in dreams, I banish them away from the realm because I don't want to deal with them in dreams. I don't want something bad to happen during a fight. I don't want anything like that. So, but that's, again, like, that's not like frightening. That's not like, oh my gosh. I've met like Freddy Krueger in dreams. He was pretty chill. I've met It in dreams. He was pretty chill. If you're lucid and have a nightmare, do you still experience fear? It depends on if it's a lucid nightmare or if it just has like the symbols that nightmares have, right? Like if I am just like in a place and it's like, oh, there's a person chasing you, and I'm like, it's a dream. Like, it's not a big deal. I wouldn't call it a nightmare. It's just like things that nightmares have is happening. Now, a lucid nightmare generally means that you know it's a dream, but you're still afraid. So like or it's still anxiety. There's still something pressing. If
if you'd like, I can share a lucid nightmare, but I don't want to like put that on people. I need like 2 or 3 people to tell me yes, because otherwise I'm going to leave it at that. Where I died and lived as a ghost in limbo. Had to watch my friends and family grow away from me. It wasn't cool. Yeah. Oh yeah. So one non-lucid nightmare. I guess I'll share that. It was when I was living in Japan, and I had a dream that somebody drove over one of the like 4-year-old kids that was like friends with my son, and I was like the first person on the scene. And like for 2 weeks after waking up after that, like I kept thinking about it and seeing it and stuff like that. And the dream lasted like a full week of me like dealing with that. And then after waking, so it felt like 3 weeks of just dealing with this. It was crazy. Me constantly afraid of stuff in my lucids and waking up on purpose all the time. Mars, is that you, Mars? You gotta work on that shadow work. You gotta give them nightmares hugs. I highly recommend shadow work in visualization, because doing it in dreams can just be so overwhelming, and practicing it in visualization is super nice. All right, so that's 3 people that said that they want to hear my nightmares. Okay, so we'll just go for I don't know, I like this one because I've heard other lucid dreamers deal with this as well, so I think this one's probably the most interesting. Normally they just wake up with a terrible feeling of dread that makes it hard to fall asleep again, so they can be seen. Well, from what I remember, isn't night terrors like when people are like thrashing around and they like don't remember it? Like, that's like what a lot of kids have, and some adults do. But yeah, I just don't think people usually remember. But yeah, but who could probably knows even that. Not even nightmare, like falling. I was afraid of heights for a little bit whenever someone I knew died from falling. Oh wait, so you're afraid of falling? Oh my gosh, that's actually really funny. I have had that point where like I'll land on like a cliff, and then all of a sudden I'm like, what if I can't fly this time? But then because of one of my goals of just consistently trying to hurt myself for a little while in dreams, it just really, like, it made me not worried to try anything in dreams, because I wasn't worried about negative side effects, because the pain tolerance was really high. Are those where I did something like kill someone and being in court and seeing all the consequences? Yeah, I had a dream once where I was like driving down the road and somebody ran out in front of me, and then they were like just so obviously dead, and I was like, do I need to like, it was so weird because again, this is non-lucid. I was like, I should call the cops, but I'm like, I'm gonna get like prosecuted for this. I did nothing wrong, and this guy's already dead. And so I was like, I'm thinking about it, and then all of a sudden all of the lights on the street start turning like red and white and blue, and I'm like, oh frick, like they know I'm here and they're gonna wonder why I didn't call the cops. Oh yeah, so basically I wouldn't say it's my scariest nightmare, but it's a common lucid nightmare trope basically, is I woke up in a false awakening. And just like I always recommend, is to reality check every single time you wake up, no matter what. You should always do that. No, it was not when I can't move after waking up. That's sleep paralysis. Those happened after I can force sleep paralysis, and I've had sleep paralysis twice before. They're not really scary. I kind of found those interesting. So then so I woke up, realized it was a dream, and I was like, oh cool, I'll go, like usually I just go to the kitchen, grab some things out of the fridge, and just decide what I'm going to do with my dreams. This was when I was really focusing on that type of thing as well, just really wanting to chill out in the dreams and just enjoy the world. So I start heading to my kitchen, and all of a sudden my eyesight just goes away. I'm like, what the heck? And this like dream entity like picks me up and throws me against the ceiling and like snaps some of my bones and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, well, this is a dream. I'll just wake myself up. Not a big deal. Wake myself up. I'm like, okay, we're good. So then I get out of bed. I'm like, I'm just going to like go get a drink. And as I walk over there, lights go out again. And then the entity, again, like imagine like telekinesis being used on you. And it slammed me against the wall. Started breaking my bones, like slamming me against things. So I kept waking up over and over, and I tried it. It got to the point where like when I woke up, I was like, hugging my wife and just basically being like, oh my gosh, like I don't know if I'm going to see you again. I don't know if I'm going to like make it out of this like with all of my I don't know if I'm going to make it out of this with all of my like sanity. And Skyfall, that's pretty funny. My eyesight went away. Shame I didn't know you. That's true. That is true. So then I finally, after quite a few, I don't really know exactly how many, I think 6 was what I said at the time, but it felt like more, but 6 is what like I counted in the dream. That's how many times like broke me and stuff like that. And then I woke up, and all of a sudden I realized like the feeling of waking was so much different than the feelings of dreams. That was actually one of the times that I felt I felt like it really showed me what the difference between dreams and waking is, because of how many times I had to like really focus on it just in order to know what was going to happen. So that one was pretty bad. And I've heard different ways of that happening to people. One person I know, that they would just lose control of their body, and their body would start like self-harming and stuff like that, and they had no ability to stop it, stuff like that. So nightmares can be very visceral like that. In general, if you're having lucid nightmares, I don't think it comes from fear. It usually comes from stress and anxiety. At this time, I had just left my church, been asked to leave. I just lost my job. I had my second kid on the way. I had bed bugs. It was a terrible time. And also the bed bugs had come right after ants and mice that we got rid of. Bed bugs was from a Craigslist ad. So yeah, it was a crazy time. I was sleeping on the couch with my wife. And so I had that. So that type of thing. Anytime I've had crazy stressful dreams or crazy nightmares while I'm still lucid, it's from waking life stress. Like, I can't force myself to have a lucid nightmare just from scary movies and things. Last dream I had was something close to nightmare. Nightmare was really seeing a skin of my face. I woke up and just watched some cat videos to forget about it. Yeah. I really, I love telling people about nightmares and stuff. So, I always find them really interesting after I wake up. Again, it's like a scary movie that I got to live through. It's cool. Really bad when they have to do with harm to my family. Those are hard to forget. Yeah, and when I was 6, I remember watching my mom get killed by the Terminator, stuff like that. There's just nightmares just all throughout. Selling bags of bed bugs. Yeah, it was just a bag of bed bugs. I don't know why I bought it. Yeah, it is past 7. Are there any more questions about mild? Looks like Skyfall's answering some questions in there, which is good. So Tarek said, when I mild, my recall drops. I think that's because of me focusing on mild so much that I neglect recall. Should I split my focus or just bear with it until recall? I would just work on recall, work on mild, go to sleep. I wouldn't split your focus. You can't really split your focus. You split your attention. Your focus is always going to be on one thing. And you really want, when you're working on recall, you want to focus on that. When you're working on mild, you want to focus on that. Now, if you really struggle to build your recall up while you're doing mild, then yes, you might want to just work on recall for a long period of time. But I don't see that as much of a problem for most people to work on both, as long as you're doing one and then the other. Similar to how I tell people to work on recall. Well, first thing, you wake up, reality check, try to DILD, work on recall, work on mild, try to wild. Those are the 5 things that I did every single waking for years and years and years, which is a lot of things to keep straight. But again, it was my main hobby. I took out all video games. Most of my friends were going to college at the time, and I was, I had wife and kids, so when I was with them, but when I wasn't with them, I was working. And when I was working on lucid dreaming. When I was asleep, I was working on lucid dreaming. Let's see. A CLI? I don't know what CLI is. So, one more thing. If anybody has any editing abilities and would be up for working on some editing things on this, I can pay you half of what I make, which is nothing. But just give me a DM on OmniLucid. We can talk about it. Like I said, I don't have anything I could pay anybody for, but I'm not going to be making any short form videos if I don't. Well, I guess I'll probably make some shorts out of this, or just some fun shorts. But I'm not going to be making a 10-minute video how-to. All right, I think I'm going to end it here. Thanks everybody for coming. I'm hoping I can set up another time next week to do this. I don't know if it'll be this late in the day. Usually I'm with my wife at this time, but she is out of town. It was nice to talk to everybody. It's nice to see you around.